You really have to protect your energy. And this is one way to make sure that no matter who you're around, no matter what's happening externally, you don't alter your frequency to match theirs or acknowledge theirs or get to the point where you are so thrown off of your own vibration, your own energy. Oh my gosh, and go into some sort of, ripple down effect of one event, one moment affecting all the hard work you've done. Here's the thing, you have to look at people as programs. Look at what their conditioning is, look at their wiring. If you're somebody who is on the path of positivity, of positive change in your life, of understanding yourself, of becoming a better human being, of potentially even working on a big goal, you might be the first millionaire in your family, and you find yourself occasionally, because of social circles, and you can't help yourself because there are some places we just need to be, right? If you're in that environment and you're talking about something positively, and the next thing you hear from the other person's side is something very restrictive, if you say, oh, I'd love to go to the park right now, and someone just says, yeah, that park is interesting, I'm not sure it's like the best park on the planet, or says something like, I once went to a park and I had this terrible experience there. Not the same park. You just said one thing and someone is able to find an objection to one thing you said, or is objectively negative. And you can tell this when you're vibing high, for whatever reason, you are going to attract people who naturally gravitate toward you, because they're just, they have the antennas to pick up people who are more compassionate and kind and are open to listening to them. And you'll have to find ways in which you can either excuse yourself from that situation, or even if you're in that situation, engage in a way that doesn't fuck your frequency up. Here's how you do it. Once you know that people are based off of their perceptions, they're operating off of their perceptions, their life story, their conditioning, I just call it like, oh, they're programmed a certain way. And also understanding that not everyone who's put on this planet is put on it so that they can rise into an evolved consciousness or become more spiritually inclined, right? You don't, that's the greatest assumption I made when I started this journey. Like, everybody wants this, everybody wants to change, everybody wants to experience life a certain way and is contributing and wants great things for humanity. Not everybody does, not everybody cares. Most people are in their own little kind of bubble. And if you're somebody who's put here to create impact and change, you're an entrepreneur, you're a creator, you're an executive leading, I don't know, 500 people or thousands of people, your charge is very different. And so it's very important for you to keep your wits about yourself, obviously, but to also maintain your frequency in such a way that you don't feel like you're completely, running on empty. So once you recognize that most people that you encounter are just running programs, it's going to make your life so much easier, because you will literally disassociate their human form from their consciousness. Stay with me for a second. Their human form from their consciousness. And so when you know that they're not at a vibration or frequency as yours, we're not here to judge, we're here to protect where we're headed, so that we have the energy to do the work we were put here to do, and to also meet more like-minded people, even if they're not doing the same thing as you are, but to have a tribe that also is moving in a certain direction at a certain level. Again, we don't judge. That is super snobbish. Don't do that. Recognize it. Control yourself. Control yourself from oversharing. Control yourself from overly engaging. And just stick to the more superficial stuff, till someone shows you that they're actually capable of your depth and your energy and your frequency. That is the best way to play your cards. And by the way, this is even more pronounced when you're in a work environment and you have that coworker that's coming over every 5 minutes after a lunch break or something and has something to say, something to gossip about, or whatever it is. The way I would look at that example or that scenario is like, oh wow, this person, it's interesting, they may not be spending enough time with themselves and they're distracted and they're on a different path. I can just either excuse myself, or I can just say, I just have 15 seconds, tell me quickly, I gotta go. And slowly do it enough number of times that, that drops from your frequency. You can't help it if it's a boss and stuff like that. But if it's a boss, then you go into these conversations with, you just close yourself a little bit before you go into these interactions. But I think at the end of the day, whatever we give power to has the power to destroy us or derail us, or put us into a dysfunctional state. So choose wisely and look at people as programs, look at people as narratives. Don't even look at them in the way they look, don't even look at the human form, just look at them as a field of energy. And once you know that this is not the right one for you, step aside.